Alright, well, it's July the 9th and I'm here at Multnomah Falls at 12:45 in the afternoon. Planning on going for the Multnomah Falls to Wahkeena hike loop, which is about 4.8 or 5.5 miles depending upon which book you read. It is a 1,600 foot elevation climb all the way around the loop. The top of the falls is 620 feet. It's a beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon, so we have gobs of people here that are from all over the states. I saw a Wisconsin license plate over on a car as I walked along the trail, and then as I went into the visitor center I saw North Carolina and South Carolina visitor sign-ins. So beautiful day. This used to be the #1 tourist location in Oregon until Spirit Mountain Casino out in Grand Ronde built their site a number of years ago, but this is still probably the #1 scenic attraction in Oregon for scenery. So I'm about ready to embark on it's about a mile to the top of the hike, to the top of the falls, and then I'll keep going. So talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, yeah, it's me again, and I'm just walking up to the main scenic spot where people stop and glance up at Benson Bridge, and the waterfall seems to have scattered about. Some rocks have shifted the water and the wind. So let me show you what we're looking at here. Here's the bottom falls and the top falls, and here we go. I got my timer set on my watch because I do this in kind of a hurry. So I'm gonna sign off again for a moment. Here we go. Lots of people on the bridge, taking pictures, just hanging out, contemplating going all the way. Some have the right shoes on and some do not. Getting across the bridge is always fun.
If you could like
excuse me. Actually, that was not too bad. And there is the falls still in shadow from being not too late in the evening or afternoon, and because it falls down the north side of the cliff face, it doesn't get a whole lot of sun until late afternoon or perhaps early morning. Okay, heading up the rest of the hill now. Still some traffic. I'll be passing them by. Check out some of these shoes that people are walking in.
up, down. These are the well, did you see on the move?
Excuse me? Okay, we're about halfway up the trail to the top of Multnomah Falls. And nice view spot here. There's a bench down below where some folks are resting, catch their breath before they head the rest of the way. So, just a pretty little view spot. The sun's starting to peek around the edge of the mountain, and off we go. At some of the switchbacks, not all of them, they actually have mile markers or quarter mile markers or half mile markers. They also have the numbers of switchbacks yet to be done to get to the top. They're not always accurate though. That's not how I would count them anyway. Okay, up a little bit more. This switchback marker says 8 of 11. And as I pan around here to the top, that little spot right where people are coming around the corner is the last uphill switchback. So that's really 9 of 11. Then it's downhill to the waterfall itself. So here we're going up, and I'm huffing and puffing just a little bit because it was a bit of a climb. Then we come around the corner almost. See, switchback 9 of 11. And that's it for the uphill. Now we're down. Now we're on Multnomah Creek side of the hill. And I'll take some more pictures down here. Coming down to the waterfall viewpoint at the top of Multnomah Falls, and down over to this side is Multnomah Creek. And there are folks sitting along the edge, some young folks wading in the water. You just have to be careful they don't get caught and like go over the edge, but I don't think that happens very often. Here's the steps down to the viewpoint. Folks coming up, kids climbing all over the place. Lots of picture taking happening here. Lots of sunshine.
One more.
Little mini falls. And water going over the top. And the view out to the Columbia River. Beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful day. Water. And you can kind of see down to where people are looking up in the parking lot. I think if I get over here, I can see Benson Bridge. People standing all over there. Cool. Glad I haven't landed on mine. Coming the other way from the viewpoint, like if we were going to go all the way to Larch Mountain or Wahkeena, which is where I'm going to go, you come across this nice wide spot in the creek with big, huge boulders. This is the absolute perfect spot to be on a 100-degree day when it's 100 degrees in Portland. It's not 100 degrees up here. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It gets a few folks up here. It'll tell you after they've hiked up the mile, hiked to the top of Multnomah Falls, it's well deserving to sit on a big rock, have a sandwich, stick your feet in the creek, and just enjoy yourself. Alright, so there's the bridge. I'm going to head across that, take a left, and head like I'm going to Larch Mountain, but today is not that hike. Today will just be over back to Wahkeena. Just up from the bridge is a fork in the trail. Well, not really anymore. This trail closed area, this is the old Perdition Trail. This used to take you over to Wahkeena along the front of the ridge. Looks like there's a bit of a trail still marked there, but I'm sure it doesn't go through. I'm sure that's like for deer and curious folks who go a little ways. But that used to be, I think, a 2.5 mile loop. Hasn't been in use for, gosh, probably 20 some years. So again, heading up this trail here, and right down there is the creek again, right there by where the bridge was that I filmed just a minute ago. Oops, I'm trying to trip over rocks on the trail. Not so crowded now. If you don't have time to go to the beach on a weekend, but you want that roar of the water, the waves, you can get it right up here. This almost sounds like the beach. Waterfalls, cool air, just beautiness. You can see the force of nature with the trees that have fallen over the winter. You get little dribbles of water coming down the hillside. Nature is gorgeous. Never changing, or never not ever changing. Whoops, I bring my camera up here and I try to take pictures of the waterfalls and try to get them all pretty, and you know what? It's more than just a snapshot. It's moving, it's noisy, birds are flittering, and now I'm talking over it all. Well, here, just enjoy the sound. Look at crystal water. Totally cool. See if I can not fall as I hike over these bumpy rocks. This is another one of my favorite little spots in this trail where it's not walking under a waterfall per se, but it is walking under the basalt. Just kind of cool. Here's the creek. Kind of like a cave. Almost. I see another waterfall up here. I should know what the name of that is. waterfall on the trail towards Wahkeena from Multnomah. You can just stop at the top of the edges of these things and be mesmerized by the little streamlets that go over the edge. Just watch them all go, fall, 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 fall. They stick together, they separate, they stick back together again. And there must be something philosophical about that. But well, I just made it to the junction where if I had packed a sandwich and some Gatorade and a few other supplies, I might make it, or I might have decided to go all the way to the top of Larch Mountain. It's a gorgeous day. I don't always get that luck when I choose to go that route. But there's Multnomah Creek, and there's the trail that I just came up, and there's the trail that would continue on to Larch Mountain. Now I've just come on this trail right here. This is taking me back over to Wahkeena. Here's the little map guide on the tree for those people who are wandering around and don't know where they're at. Gives them a little bit of guidance. So the trail is more like a woods trail here, not as rocky, not as bumpy. Some pretty nice little scenic places along the woods. You still hear the creek here, and I'll hear it going up a little ways, and then it's really kind of magical as I go around one bend and it just simply goes quiet. It's just an interesting demonstration of how sound waves occur that you don't always think about when they're constant around you. Alright, well, we're gonna keep on going. Lots of lush woods and undergrowth. It's beautiful up here. Creeks that cross the pathway, because even though it's July, we've had so much rain, it's really more like May. And you know what? It doesn't matter if I get my feet wet at all. Oops, as I trip over I'm coming up to this interesting little spot where I don't know if you'll be able to hear the difference, but down below me, down here, is still Multnomah Creek. Down through the woods there, I can hear there are folks coming up the trail behind me. And now I'm gonna head up the trail and around this little corner, and I'm gonna be kind of quiet. I'm facing out towards the gorge right there, not much of a view. And now it's just quiet. The creek sound is gone. I hear a bit of a hum from the highway. Mostly I hear bugs buzzing in the greenery and just quiet. Alright, now we have arrived at what I consider probably my favorite part of this trail, and I just don't know why. It's just smooth. It's relatively flat after some nice steep climbs to get here, but the trees are just beautiful, and usually it's just the trail's smooth with a nice coating of fir needles on it, and it's just pretty. I just like this part, and I know I'm getting close to the junction where I could either go up to Devil's Rest, which is a well-deserving name, or take one of two options back down to Wahkeena, or head over to Angel's Rest, or as I will do today just for the sake of this little video, take you over to Wahkeena Spring, where the creek actually comes out of the side of the mountain and just begins. So much for this little section. I'm almost to the end of it as it kind of goes around the corner and starts getting some ups and downs. The junction, oops, which is where all the uphill either ceases or begins again. This signpost here is the turn to go up to Devil's Rest, which is 1.6 more miles. I think it's 800-foot elevation gain, and there are just a series of super steep switchbacks on this puppy. And then once you get to Devil's Rest, it's just a pile of rocks in the woods, and you either have to keep going, maybe over to Angel's Rest to get out of there, or you just simply turn around. And I prefer loops than just up and backs. So then, moving back along the trail here, I'm coming up to the junction where I can go left down Wahkeena, or I can go right down Wahkeena. Now if I go left, I have the ability then to go Angel's Rest this way, or to the Wahkeena Springs. So the downhill, it's pretty much equal distance either way. Just a little bit different scenery either way. So we're gonna go right, Columbia River Highway 1.9 miles. We're on Wahkeena 420. So here we go. Downhill, woohoo! Love it. I might even run a little bit. Now we're getting to this junction where you can turn left to go to Angel's Rest, which is what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to Angel's Rest. I'm just going to go to the spring. And then I'll come back. The spring is just probably a couple hundred yards. Not too far. I won't bore you with the woods trail here until I get there, because it's a couple minutes walk anyway. To the left. I'll turn it back on. Get on. It really wasn't that far. I always remember not quite accurately. So right here, to the side of the trail, this is the uphill section. It's just woods and uphill section. And right here are some steps. And right there is the spring that feeds Wahkeena Creek. That's it. It comes right out of the side of the hill right there. Pretty cool. Got a nice little spot up here that Sean and I like to bring some Gatorade and some sandwiches and just enjoy. So this is the beginning of the creek. So I'll show you more when I get down. Here I am coming down the trail. Wahkeena, there's a bunch of switchbacks here. But there's where that little tiny spring is turned into kind of a roaring, pretty steep. Waterfall. It's gorgeous up there. Lots of green moss. A much tighter valley. And lots and lots of switchbacks here. You can see down multiple layers of switchbacks. It just keeps going down. It's a pretty steep one. I much prefer coming down Wahkeena than coming up it. Coming around to Fairy Falls, which is like a little mini Ramona Falls. Just the way it bounces off its beautiful layers of rock. It's got thick moss on it. Very pretty little waterfall. There's a nice little bridge right here to go over. Pretty. Oh, hi. And more down. Just a little more scenery. Just all the white water coming down this creek is just beautiful. I like it. Must be why I hike it so often. Years ago when Sean and Marguerite and I did our first spring hike on this loop, this bridge wasn't there and the only way to get across the creek there was some wobbly stuff sitting in the creek. Let me tell you, it was kind of hairy. But later in the season, I think it was 2 years ago, probably 09, maybe 08, and now they've got a decent bridge there with good foot traffic. And the canyon gets kind of boxy down here, it gets really tight. Or getting down there. It's almost like little mini chutes. These tight little boxes hidden. That portion of it right there just flies. This is kind of a hippie area foothold-wise also. So you really should be watching your step and not the video camera. Alright, so we're now approaching Lemons Point, which overlooks the river again. As you can see, oh look, there's a barge out there going towards Portland. I don't need to go out there. I've been seeing all these beautiful scenic areas forever. So, coming down beyond Lemons Point towards Wahkeena Falls is kind of the boring part of the whole hike. It's paved and it's got switchbacks. But you're far enough away from the creek that you just don't know if you're coming up what the point of the jaunt might be. And if you're coming down, well, like me, I'm just getting ready to be done with the hike. So it's paved. It will come around the side of the hill and it will connect me with the ponytail portion of Wahkeena and then down to the park, which is where I always park at Wahkeena, never at Multnomah Falls, because Multnomah Falls is the tourist destination, so much easier to park at Wahkeena in the park, hike over to Multnomah Falls, and then start that. It's just a good little warm-up half-mile hike before you start hiking up the hill. Then when I get to the bottom of Wahkeena, then I'm just done. Okay, so this is the boring part, so I will not bore you any longer here until I get so we come around the side of the hill to the boring part. And now I'm over to Wahkeena Falls. Which is a great spot on a hot day because the mist flies so well, the breeze is blowing so good. I'll probably have blurry video. A hot day, it's probably scrubs 25 degrees off. You stand here, feel the mist, the breeze blows down through this valley. Oh, awesome! Alright, let's move on. It's a real world away. Darn it. Alright, we're back down to the bottom of Wahkeena. This is where I started, even though my film started at Multnomah. There's the bottom of Wahkeena Falls. People looking all over the place. And you can kind of see all the way up to the ponytails where we were standing up by the bridge a few minutes ago. the return trail back over to Multnomah Falls. And the parking lot. Parking on the street here is pretty tight, but there is a park that usually doesn't fill up too much earlier in the day. So I'm done now. Hope you enjoyed my video log of Multnomah Falls to Wahkeena.